Israel is frequently marketed as an innovation hub and a country which shares Western values. In fact, one of their biggest diplomatic pushes in recent decades has been to convince various countries' leaders that Israel shares Western values and that they are built on Judeo Christian values. Now, the more you learn about Israel, the more disappointed you will become. And I'd like to start with this short interview with this guy, Josh Paul, who used to work for the United States State Department, and he worked in the process of approving arms deliveries to Israel. And here he tells us, among one of the reasons for why he quit.
I think what happened on October 7th was an absolute atrocity, was 1,000 atrocities. I think at the same time we condemn those atrocities, we have to condemn the atrocities that happen every day to Palestinians in the West Bank. You mentioned sexual violence. I was part of the human rights vetting process for arms going to Israel, and a charity called Defense of Children International Palestine drew our attention at the State Department to the sexual assault, actually the rape of a 13-year-old boy that occurred in an Israeli prison in the Mosque in Jerusalem. We examined these allegations. We believed they were credible. We put them to the government of Israel. And you know what happened the next day? The IDF went into the DCIP offices and removed all their computers and declared them a terrorist entity. I think it is vital that atrocities not happen to anyone.
I think that's enough to continue. See, over the years, Israel has become a refuge for pedophiles. Back in 2016, this was raised at a Knesset pre hearing, where they also said that there was a significantly higher proportion of cases in the ultra Orthodox community. And so you might not be very surprised when you read about those tunnels in New York underneath a synagogue where they found children's toys as well as a bloody mattress. Israel also needs to stop being a safe haven for sex criminals in general. And tens of thousands of pedophiles operate in Israel every year. CBS in 2020 did a report on how Jewish American pedophiles hide from justice in Israel by leveraging the right to return and the lack of extradition between Israel and the US, despite them being such close allies. In addition, Israel is trying to legalize pedophilia, according to A.V. Maus, who is a right wing lawmaker. Now, this might be a little bit of an overstep here, I don't quite know, but apparently in Israel, you are allowed to have sex from the age of consent or age of majority is 14 years old, and you are allowed to have sex with somebody who is 3 years older than you. Apparently, the Justice Ministry was trying to change this in order to provide for an age gap of up to 5 years, meaning that a 19-year-old man could have sex with a 14-year-old girl without facing criminal charges. Now, I'd like to ask the question this way. If this law had been proposed or was being considered in a Muslim majority country, I'm pretty sure it would have been on the news literally everywhere. But for some reason, Israel gets a pass. But I want to put this into context. When we look at how many Palestinian minors are in the custody of Israeli security forces, and mind you, many, if not most, of these minors are imprisoned without a process. This is entirely extrajudicial. So, we have a country which has a problem of sexual crime and pedophilia, where they also have a population held in prisons without protections and without any rights. At the same time, during this latest massacre by Israel in Gaza, as well as the West Bank, lest we forget, has a number of reported sexual violations and human rights violations against Palestinian women and girls, saying, "We are particularly distressed by reports that Palestinian women and girls in detention have also been subjected to multiple forms of sexual assault, such as being stripped naked and searched by male Israeli army officers. At least two female Palestinian detainees were reported raped, while others were reportedly threatened with rape and sexual violence," the experts said. They also noted that photos of female detainees in degrading circumstances were also reportedly taken by the Israeli army and uploaded online. Now, most likely, those photos made their way into the various Telegram channels that the IDF, operates as part of their psychological warfare. UN experts demand an investigation into the claims. However, Netanyahu says that authorities had received no complaints of abuse, but stressed that Israel remains ready to investigate any concrete claims of misconduct by its security forces when presented with credible allegations and evidence. How come that bar is not required when we talk about the October 7th attack and all of the claims of sexual misconduct on that day? If you can find this report, it's freely available, and when you actually read it about the sexual violence on that day that the UN and Israel made a lot of noise about, you will actually pretty quickly find that there is no evidence that was reviewed, despite the team reviewing over 5,000 photographs and hours upon hours of footage. In addition to that, the mission was not allowed to see any victims or to speak with any first-hand witnesses either. So what's going on? I think this is simply part of Netanyahu's continued war on the truth and leveraging the time-old technique of accusations in the mirror. Israelis continue to accuse Palestinians of the crimes for which they themselves are guilty, as has happened in every single genocide in humanity and in history. Now ask yourself the following: do you share Israel's values? And is Israel's values, or rather are Israel's values, based on Western Judeo-Christian values? Might be worth considering. And it might also be worth wondering, how come some people will defend Israel come hell or high water? Pretty sure they have a few skeletons in their closet. Have a nice day.